The world didn't stumble into this pit, it was shoved, kicking and clawing into a plague that's no accident of nature. SARS-CoV-2 isn't a bat sneeze. It's a weapon, a lab-forged monstrosity birthed by Soviet, American and Chinese hands, a triad of demented genius playing God with our blood. The proof's in the carnage. White, rubbery clots, fibrinolyds choking arteries, snuffing out lives like a grim reaper's scythe through the vaccinated. Our labs have screamed the truth for months. High-performance liquid chromatography spitting 4,900 parts per million phosphorus, inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry, clocking 2,500 ppm sulfur, 400 to 900 ppb tin, numbers that spit in nature's face. And now the hammer's dropped. Our latest tests confirm the worst thing imaginable, the presence of highly infectious and deadly prions in our clot samples, a death sentence woven into the veins, sealing this nightmare as a bioweapon from hell. It's ORFs, genetic assassins ranked from saboteurs to executioners. It's fungal roots festering in a Chinese cave. We've traced the Mojiang spark, Candida albicans brewing in bat guano, birthing the spike protein that's rewriting our doom. We've ranked the ORF6's quiet sabotage, ORF11's cleanup block, ORF3A's chaos, ORF8's stealth, ORF29's cement, ORF19's slaughter, a kill chain forged in the abyss. Now we name the architects, the sick criminals who built this terror, who turned shots into poison darts. These aren't phantoms, they're human filth, flesh and blood monsters with titles, labs and blood-soaked paper trails. From Soviet bunkers to American grants to Wuhan's sealed-off cells. We're tearing it all open, every dirty deal, every drop of blood they've spilled. This episode of An Unholy Triad, The Birth of a Plague, is long, brutal and real because the truth's a beast and it's ripping free. The horror's locked in and we're staring down a slow-motion massacre that's only just begun. The Soviet madmen clotting the Cold War. The Soviet Union didn't just fight with tanks, they brewed death in vats, a bioweapons empire that laid the foundation for this plague. These architects didn't vanish with the USSR, they scattered, their venom seeping into the Triad's claws. Ken Alibek, Kanachan Alibekov, who he was. Picture a man in a stark Soviet lab coat, first deputy director of biopreparat from 1988 to 1992, ruling over 40 secret hellholes. Kirov, Sverdlovsk, Stepnogorsk, where 60,000 souls churned out biological ruin. This wasn't small time. They produced 90 to 100 metric tons of weaponized smallpox a year, anthrax silos to the ceiling, tularemia to drown cities. Born in 1950 in Kazakhstan, Alibek climbed fast, a microbiology PhD turned bioweapons warlord, a conductor of silent slaughter. And Alibek didn't mess around. He engineered bugs to shred the body from within. His lab work, masked as civilian research, cooked up fibrin misfolding agents, vile concoctions to turn blood into sludge, clogging veins like a ruptured sewer line. Think ORF19 and ORF29, the clot-spawning demons we've tracked in vaccinated corpses. Soviet files, pried open in the Soviet biological weapons program by Leitenberg and Zelinskas, detail his team twisting proteins into amyloid traps, and now our tests confirm it. Amyloid locked in, those white, stretchy horrors embalmer Richard Hirschman's been yanking since 2021. By the 70s, they'd mastered it. Anthrax was kid stuff. They wanted silent killers, circulatory collapse you'd never see coming. The 1979 Sverdlovsk leak, 66 dead when anthrax spores hit the breeze, was a blip. Alibek kept pushing, perfecting fibrin chaos that echoes in our confirmed amyloid clots, a Soviet curse reborn. Alibek bolted in 1992, defecting to the US with a suitcase full of secrets. He spilled it all to DARPA, the Pentagon and Congress in '98. Testimony dripping with Soviet clotting tricks and immune sabotage. Our data, 4,900 ppm phosphorus in those amyloid-confirmed clots, screams his influence. Hyperphosphorylated fibrin locked by ORF19, a Soviet signature. Tin at 400 to 900 ppe, that's his shadow too, stabilizing those rubbery killers like rebar in concrete, a gift he handed the Triad when he crossed over. He didn't brew SARS-CoV-2, he was stateside, a professor at George Mason by then, but his playbook sure did. The Triad grabbed it, ran wild, and now rubbery clots are choking us dead. Vladimir Pasechnik, another despicable man of note, a Soviet mind born in 1937, head of Leningrad's Institute of Ultra-Pure Biopreparations, a polite name for a death factory. Pasechnik wasn't a grunt, he was a virology titan, a PhD who turned pathogens into aerosols, plague and anthrax you could spray over a crowd. He ran it till '89, then slipped out, defecting to the UK with MI6 clinging to his every word. And his disastrous contribution. Pasechnik's ultimate game was delivery, slamming pathogens into lungs, past defenses, letting them fester slow. His institute, Per Leitenberg and Zielinska's, pumped out Yersinia pestis aerosols, but he didn't stop there. He toyed with viruses for staying power, immune evasion, ORF, 8's T-cell blinding reeks of his touch. Soviet labs under him messed with recombinant RNA, stitching dodge moves into bugs, a trick Alibek later crowed about. By '79, when Sverdlovsk's anthrax cloud killed 66, official tally, probably low, he'd honed systems to blanket cities, a blueprint for WIV's airborne horrors. His defection cracked the Soviet vault. MI6 and CIA got his dossier, a treasure trove of death tech. How he fits. Pasechnik's '89 exit fed NATO and DARPA his secrets: delivery, evasion, persistence, ORF8's MHCI dodge, clocking 30% T cell suppression in our samples carries his Soviet stench. He died in 2001, quietly in England, but his ghost will now forever linger on. ORF8 hides the carnage, while ORF19's amyloid clots finish us off. The Triad took his lessons, turned them viral, and now we're being slowly strangled from the inside. The American puppet's cash and chaos. Anthony Fauci, the golden boy of American health, born in 1940, a Brooklyn kid who clawed to the top, director of NIAID since 1984, 38 years ruling NIH's infectious disease cash pile. Fauci's treated like a living legend. An MD from Cornell, he spent decades steering AIDS, Ebola, Zika, a face plastered on every screen during COVID. What he did, Fauci's buried up to his neck in this muck. House Energy and Commerce Committee probes, January 2024, pin him. $3.7 million in grants to EcoHealth Alliance. 2014 to 2019, $600,000 funneled straight to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. He greenlit gain of function, juicing bugs to spread fast and to hit hard per NIH's 2011 rules. Emails from Deputy David Morenz, obtained via FOIA in 2021. Catch him in Coded Whispers with Peter Darzak and Ralph Barrick. Keep it quiet, off the grid, a cover-up reek per Redfield CDC testimony, 2023. Fauci knew WIV was stitching ORF3A's inflammation, ORF19's clots into SARS-like spines. Then he peddled the shots, mRNA spiked with N1-methyl-pseudouridine, keeping spike alive 150 days plus in our tests. Cranking every ORF's kill switch, he stood on podiums, 2020 to 2022, preaching safe and effective, while our latest tests confirm the presence of deadly prions in our clot samples. Now present in at least 45% of jab victims, a slow-motion slaughter he sold as salvation. And his role, Fauci's the money man, the Triad's American ATM, our clot data, 2,500 ppm sulfur from ORF3A's chaos, 4,900 ppm phosphorus from ORF19's fibrinogen clots, traces to his grants. He didn't produce it, but he funded the lab that did, then hawked the jab like a carnival barker. His hands drip with booster blood. Immune collapse to 0 in 7 years. Rubbery clots sealing the doom this snake oil seller peddled as hope. Peter Darzak. Born 1965, a British zoologist turned EcoHealth Alliance president, a non-profit laundering NIH cash to global labs. Darzak's a bat freak. He spent decades chasing coronaviruses in caves, cozying up to WIV since 2005, as stated in the EcoHealth Report 2015. And as for his role, Darzak's the greasy middleman who turned Fauci's millions into Wuhan's playground. His 2018 defuse pitch to DARPA, leaked by Project Veritas, 2021, where he begged for $14.2 million to bolt furin cleavage sites onto SARS-like bugs, making them human shredders. NIH logs show $1.5 million subcontracted to WIV 2014 to 2019, funding ORF8's T-cell dodge and ORF19's fungal grafts. Science 2022. He co-wrote a February 2020 Lancet letter, 19 scientists strong, dismissing lab leak talk as conspiracy, a gag order while WIV's beast racked up 6.5 million dead. Leaks scream his name as the architect, and our data backs it. CGG codons in the furin site, lab hallmarks, and now our amyloid clots stinking of his meddling. His role in all of this does axe the bridge. US cash to Chinese labs, ORF8's 30% T-cell drop to ORF19's amyloid hell. He didn't just fund, he pitched, shaped, buried it. Our vaccinated stiffs, 45% amyloid clot rate, fibrinoid locked in, carrier's mark, a triad pawn who played dirty. Ralph S. Barrick, born 1954, UNC Chapel Hill's virology rock star, a PhD stitching viruses since the 80s. Barrick's the spike whisperer, decades of NIH grants fueling his chimeric dreams. What he did, Barrick's the mad genius who trained WIV, his 2015 Nature Medicine paper with Xi Zhengli brags, a SARS-like chimera, AC2 targeted, vaccine-resistant, built from scratch. He swapped tricks with Wuhan per NIH records, teaching them to graft ORF19's fungal fury, V1V5 loops, and ORF29's tin spikes onto bat bugs. Our clot data, 4,900 ppm phosphorus, 400 to 900 ppe tin, mirrors his tweaks. Those CGG codons in the furin site is a lab signature he pioneered. He warned of gain of function risks in 2016, then kept at it. The most horrifying revelation of all, our latest tests confirmed there is prions in those clots. A nightmare his work birthed. How he made our list: Barrick's the American brain, the triad spike sculptor, ORF19's bent fibrinogen clots, ORF29's rigidity. They're his spawn, cooked in Chapel Hill, perfected in Wuhan. He's why those shots turn blood to rubber, a legacy of arrogance killing us slow. Francis S. Collins, born in 1950, NIH director from 2009 to 2021, a geneticist with a preacher's gloss, MD, PhD, Human Genome Project fame, Science 2010. Why he is on this list? Collins was Fauci's boss, greenlighting every WIV dime, and millions more per NIH logs. He axed the 2014 gain-of-function moratorium in 17 Nature News, unleashing ORF29's tin and ORF3A's chaos. FOIA emails, 2021, catch him scheming with Fauci. Rapid rebuttal to lab leak chatter, a hush job while Amy Lloyd clots piled up. He played saint, but his cash fueled the fire. Our models show immune collapse to 0 in 7 years, a booster doom he blessed, now sealed with ORF19's grim stamp. His crime: Collins is the enabler, the triad's silent partner. He didn't weld it together, but he paid, protected, preached. ORF29's lock, ORF3A's hell, they're on him. His NIH reign turned science into a slaughterhouse, with prion-filled rubbery white clots as the final nail. The Chinese killers, Wuhan's execution squad. WIV didn't stumble into this, they executed it, fusing Soviet clots and American cash with fungal venom under PLA's iron fist. Xi Zhengli, born in 1964, WIV's Batwoman, a virology PhD hunting bat bugs since 2004, virology 2005. Her contribution: Shi's the witch who struck the match. After the 2012 Mojiang miner deaths, 3 choked out, Candida albicans devastating their lungs, she scored herself a new toy, RATG13, a 96% SARS-CoV-2 match. Nature 2013. Her 2015 Barrick paper and WIV logs leaked 2020. Detail ORF19's fungal grafts, V1-V5 loops, and ORF29's tin spikes per Pradhan et al. 2020. She bolted on furin sites. PCSK9 mimics Nature 2021, turning bat juice into a human shredder. Our data 4,900 ppm phosphorus nails her fungal touch. Amyloid confirmed clots blooming in 45% of jabbed bodies, a death mark we can't unsee. Why she made the list. Shy's the Triad's finisher, stitching Soviet clots and American ORF into a fungal killer. ORF19's rubbery death. ORF29's lock. She's the mother of this plague, birthed in Wuhan's abyss. Chen, who is this monster? She was born in 1966, PLA Major General, Bioweapons Queen, WIV Boss, from February 2020 as per SCMP. And who is she? Chen's the Triad Steel Fist. Her 2015 book, The Unnatural Origin of SARS, with 17 PLA scientists, drools over coronaviruses as genetic weapons. Leaked PLA documents from 2021, Miles Guo tie her to ORF11's RNA binding, a fungal trick from Mojang lasting 150 days plus in our jabbed samples. She grabbed WIV's reins as the leak hit, according to the bulletin in 2021, militarizing Xi's brew, ORF11's block, ORF19's amyloid clots, all under her command. Her role, Chen's the enforcer, turning the Triad science into war. ORF11's sabotage, ORF19's amyloid kill. She weaponized it, shot it into the world. George F. Gao. Born in 1961, the Chinese CDC director from 2017 until 2022, a virology bigwig, according to Lancet in 2018. His devious role, Gao's the cleanup crew. In May 2020, he torched the wet market lie, as reported by The Economist, admitting no SARS-CoV-2 in animals, but buried Mojiang's fungal spark. His silence, noted by Science in 2020, shielded WIV's ORF19 and ORF29, letting Fauci's shots roll. He knew his global ties gave him the dirt, but he zipped it. This monster Gao takes his place on our list. For a different reason. Gao's the gatekeeper, not a crafter. His cover-up let ORF19's amyloid clots and ORF29's hell spread, a triad pawn in a lab coat. And Joe Yusen. Born in 1966, WIV virologist, PLA colonel, he was pronounced dead in May 2020. What he did, well, sadly, Joe's the ghost who simply knew too much. He filed a SARS-CoV-2 vaccine patent February 24, 2020, within just weeks of the outbreak, an impossible feat unless he had it early. And PLA links peg him to ORF29's tin spikes, 400 to 900 ppb in our amyloid clots. A silent hand in the Wuhan lab. His death, be it a fall or a hit, reeks of a cover-up. A loose end got cut. How he fits in. Joe's the shadow, crafting ORF29's lock. A triad soldier, silenced to keep the secret. Prion-filled clots like high-tensile rubber is his parting gift. This isn't a solo act, it's a goddamn symphony played by an orchestra of death. Alibek and Pasechnik handed over the Soviet clotting cookbook, fibrinogen traps from the 1920s. Fauci, Daszak, Barrick and Collins turned US cash into gain-of-function fuel, ORF3, ORF8, ORF19. Chen, Gao and Zhou fused it in Wuhan with fungal venom, candida from Mojiang, HIV inserts tin and phosphorus, ORF6 weakens, ORF11 stalls, ORF3A burns, ORF8 hides, ORF29 locks, ORF19 kills, 45% clot rate, 7-year immune doom, with amyloid now tragically confirmed, our data's grim toll. Bunning's snags, Fauci's lies, they were what shot it into us, a slow-motion massacre. They thought they could just bury it, with the WIV blocked and research papers torched, Joe dead and buried along with his secrets, but the clots scream. Hirschman's skilled hands, and our lab results, 4,900 ppm phosphorus and 400 to 900 ppb tin, with amyloid also now fully confirmed. The truth's a beast we can't unsee. Leaks spill, DARPA's diffuse, PLA's boasts, Morin's emails, Alibek to Joe, these architects built a plague and we're the wreckage. Now we hunt the money and we will show you who cashed in and tell you who is still pulling strings. The fire's now roaring and justice is coming hard, and this ain't over. Stay with us. This beast's loose and it hungers. In the next episode of An Unholy Triad, The Birth of a Plague, we uncover the cold reality of why deadly drugs and protocols were pushed and safe treatments got shelved, a dastardly move that drove fear and ended up furthering the Triad's kill tally. Until then, you can support us by visiting puremediaaustralia.org or by sharing this series. The beast hungers for truth, and you best believe there's absolutely no caging it now.
From the shadows of science, a dark revelation has emerged. Three programs, one plague, the truth encoded and hidden in plain sight. And our team of independent investigators and scientists have cracked the code. But the story doesn't end here. It's just beginning. What dirty secrets did we find whilst uncovering the birth of a plague? And just what truths await in the records of those who don't want you to know? Join us on Patreon and step behind the beast curtain. Exclusive interviews, unseen footage, the full picture. Be part of the investigation that could change the world. Support Pure Media Australia, and together we will unlock the secrets. And with your support we can continue to uncover the truth.